Hey guys, GhazzyTV here with another YouTube video. Today we're going to go through Spectres that are utility options for you to use in a very large variety of different builds. I will go through my three generic approaches of utility Spectres, but I will mention another one now before we dive into the video, where I'll actually be showing you the footage of these things. And that's because the things that I'll be showing you, I will have information black and white on exactly what to do with all the numerical values. However, we are in a situation where there's a Spectre called the Rena Masters, which is from the Yellow Conqueror Drox. So if you spawn him in your map area and you fight monsters in a map which is influenced by Drox monsters, you're going to be able to find these Rena Masters. Now these Rena Masters, there's not really much information on them except the fact that they have an empty action attack, which is just Warlord Grandmaster, no information whatsoever, but it does say a 12-second cooldown with a 2.2-second cast time. Now this is the ability we are going to be talking about. This specific ability is basically an AoE based, very short duration aura with a 12-second cooldown. This aura is not too big, but covers about half the screen without any AoE investments. And it grants 40% movement speed as well as attack and cast speed for a small duration. I do believe that the approach to this is about 5 seconds with Mistress of Sacrifice Spec. That's what I've been told. So I'm going to assume that the duration of this buff is about 4 seconds. But again, without the full information, I'm not going to showcase them as a really good option, because the thing is that even with heavy investment into duration, they will still not have 100% uptime of this. However, if you're putting Feeding Frenzy on these minions because they're very tanky, you can actually have these Spectres be providing a lot of extra damage to your minions, such as for builds for like enemy weapons, such as zombie builds or anything like that. So if you are a character or playing a build that is utilizing, let's say, 3 Spectres, you could use these as the third additional option to the Spectres that I usually would use for the sake of generic damage and clear speed increasements. Now this would be the upcoming Spectres, which are the Carnage and Host Chieftains. Now these are found in Ashen Fields Act 7, and you can desecrate them there. They are the Apes, the Chieftains, and basically the Carnage Chieftain generates Frenzy Charges to yourself and nearby allies, so that your minions will have Frenzy Charges. The Host Chieftain does the same thing, but they provide Power Charges instead. And what's very important to note about this is that Charges is acting very differently to enemies as well as your minions compared to you as a player. So basically, if you're looking at the efficiency of Frenzy Charges as well as Power Charges, I'm going to show you this right now here on the screen. You can go to the wiki and then go all the way to Monsters, I believe it is. Nope, it should be here. I am so lost at this right now. Effects on monsters and minions, there we go. Jesus Christ. So, here's that information all the way at the bottom. So if you look at Frenzy Charges, they provide 4% attack and cast speed to your player, as well as 4% more damage per charge. Now that doesn't really cope when it comes to enemies and minions. Instead, they get 15% increased attack and cast speed per charge, as well as 4% damage, but also 5% movement speed. So this is why Frenzy Charges are so valuable for minions. And the same thing goes with Power Charges, because Power Charges, they provide increased critical strike chance increasement. In this case, for players, it's 40% per charge, but for minions, it's 200% increased in critical strike chance per power charge, which is both for attacks and spells. So this is why charges are so effective for players to use to your minions. So that's why you can use them from the Ashen Fields, Carnage, and Host Chieftains. One of my most generically used utility Spectre in the entire game, and I feel that they're very, very, very solid for that specific purpose alone. So next in line, we have the thing that I've been talking about a lot, which is the Theof Tool. It's something we've been talking a lot about on the stream. Theof Tool basically are available from the tool Breachstones. It's the rare big guys that puts down a Snowstorm on the ground. Now this Snowstorm is a huge AoE. It does have a 9-second cooldown, but however, the duration is, with just minor investment, longer than the cooldown. There's two things about this that is very big. The thing is that this one grants you a 15% damage reduction of damage taken, just straight up mitigating damage. It also gives you 20% chance to dodge attacks and spells, which is absolutely insane considering the fact that you can have 100% uptime of this. But as you can see in the gameplay footage when I'm using these Spectres, they do not follow you. It's not an aura, it's a ground effect they put on the ground with a 9-second cooldown and a base duration of 10 seconds. So the uptime is there, but only versus bosses, which means that these type of Spectres will be better oriented for builds that are designed to AFK blight encounters, like a zombie strength stacking build. You just AFK blights to have these for the extra damage mitigation. They can also be used for specific boss farming builds where you want that extra mitigation versus bosses, or hell, even a new boss in the upcoming future releases in PoE, they can be used for that as well. So that's where they really shine. But since it doesn't follow you, they have kind of a limited usage when it comes to mapping with these two in general. However, last but not least of these utility Spectres that I personally prefer to use, we have the Undying Evangelist. Now, the Undying Evangelist can be found in the Scepter of God, Act 3, and these guys have a physical delayed blast spell. So basically they're doing a spell that puts down an AoE yellow shiny ability on the ground, which then explodes, which deals physical damage. That's their attack, offensive ability, but that's not why we're going to use them. Their proximity shield is their utility option here. It has a cooldown of 18 seconds, but has a base duration of 8 seconds, allowing you to increase this duration of this shield to between 16 to 18 seconds, if not more, depending on how much you're willing to invest into it, allowing you to have a close to, if not 100% uptime. And usually when I use these type of Spectres, because they're kind of squishy, I want to have at least 2 or 3 of them, so that in case one of them doesn't pop their shield immediately, they will have some sort of overlapping with the shield to make sure that they're safe as well as myself. And what does proximity shields do? It's very simple. Any ability that is dealing damage to you that is coming from outside the shield will not do anything to you. Obviously, ground effects or debuffs and whatnot will still apply, but if there's a projectile, let's say, that's shooting from outside the shield, going into the shield, hitting something inside the shield, that projectile will not do a single point of damage. And that's why they can be very, very useful. However, they are very squishy. Similar to the Carnage and Host Chieftain, as I mentioned earlier, they have a tendency of dying in very hard encounters when it comes to mapping. Seers, for example, have a pretty high risk of killing them. That's something you don't really have to worry about when it comes to Thay of Tool or the earlier mentioned Rena Masters. But these are basically the favorite type of support or utility Spectres that I tend to use for a large variety of my builds. Obviously, in some of the builds, I try to get the generation of charges and buffs. So in my case, I'd be using the Carnage and Host Chieftain +1 Arena Master to get that extra burst of increasement of damage. But that's about it. For other builds, you can actually always utilize both the Arena Masters, Thay of Tool, or to some degree Undying Evangelists. But again, the Undying Evangelists will be in a risk of dying quite often. Anyways, that's it for this video. If you check out the description below, there's a link leading to the Spectre Hub video, as I call it, where I'm talking about, I do believe we talked about 19 or 20 different Spectres, and I am currently working on sorting one separate video for pretty much all of those Spectres alone, and all of those will be linked in that description in that video. So if you like this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe for more content, and until next time, stay safe and keep rocking, boys.